In this lecture, we're going to review the first two quiz pools. So when you took quiz 1 and quiz 2, you got 5 questions from a pool. They were randomly selected from the pool. So you will not recognize every question we're going to go over, but it's a good idea to review them anyway because you'll probably see them again on an exam. So starting with quiz pool 1, Android applications are written in the Java programming language. Question 2, what's the correct way to capitalize a class? We'll go with Pascal case, which is put all the words together, remove spaces and symbols, start with a letter. Every character after that can be a letter or a number, and then capitalize the first letter of each word, including the first word. So when we're talking about a class, that's what we want to do. How much is a developer's license to deploy apps on the Google Play Store? $25 one time. YCWIG stands for what you see is what you get. And that's a lot of times that was a term that was common in the 90s when we were going from command line to a visual user interface. So YCWIG, what you see is what you get. Before that, you just had to put in some codes and imagine what it would look like, or edit without actually seeing a drag and drop kind of layout. So the Android layout editor is what you see is what you get. Match the term with the best definition. Noun is a class, so something like a car or a plant or a tree, that's a noun. Verb is a method, so something like run, grow, stop. These are all methods, they're verbs. Adjective is an attribute that describes a class. A tall tree, a drought-resistant tree. Okay, tall, drought-resistant. A pink flower. So pink would describe a flower. A good-smelling flower, or a flower with a good smell. So smelling good would be an attribute. Okay, and that would be an adjective. Eclipse is our integrated development environment. We're using Eclipse plus the Android ADT. And then ADT is a plugin for our development environment that we use to create Android apps. Okay, using absolute units like pixels is recommended for specifying layout width and height. That's not true. That's false. We want to have a liquid layout or a fluid layout, if you prefer, because Android devices can be all different resolutions, from a phone to a tablet to TV. And even within those, it's up to the manufacturer what the resolution is going to be. So we don't want to design for one phone. We want to design a layout that will look good on many phones. Okay, layouts are written in XML. And what is the advantage of linking to a website when possible instead of having all activity take place in the app? Two things. Web ads generally pay more, and you can only have web ads once you are inside of some kind of website browser on your phone. It's not legal to put a web ad in an app unless the app actually takes them to a browser of some kind. And then they're seeing the ad within a page. Okay. The other thing which is big is you only have to write a web page one time. You don't have to worry about different versions for different operating systems. So it's a good idea to get a user to a website as soon as you can, because the website's going to look the same on iOS, Android, BlackBerry, Symbian, whatever you happen to use. Okay. Now, what you don't want to do is have a mobile app that does not take advantage of anything on the phone itself. Okay, you don't want to have a mobile app that just takes you directly to a website, and that's all it does. And I've seen mobile apps like that where it puts an icon on your screen, and all it really is a bookmark and a browser. Nothing more than that. So, what are these things that are inherent to the mobile device? Things like the accelerometer, which tell how fast you're going or in which direction you're holding the phone. And then the onboard camera is another one, the GPS, things like that. Okay, so those are the questions from the first pool. Let's take a look now at the second pool. Okay, 10 questions in the second pool. Okay, A pop-up message that goes away without user interaction is called a toast. To automatically organize imports in Eclipse, hold down Control, Shift, and O. That's a multiple answer question, so if you got all three correct and you didn't pick any that were incorrect, you got all points. If you got 2 out of 3, it would give you partial credit on that. Okay. Place in the correct order for a method signature. We start with the access modifier, which is usually public, private, protected, or sometimes it's blank, which is what we would call default or package protected. The return type. What data will this method return? Sometimes it'll be void, which means it doesn't return anything. Other times it'll be a string or a number, or maybe a class. Okay. Then the name of the method, and the name of the method is something that we decide. It's typically camel case, but what we call the method is up to us. That's the name that we make up. And then a list of parameters or values that we pass into the method, and we put those parameters within parentheses. So sometimes we'll pass nothing in, sometimes we'll pass a lot of stuff in. It depends on the method. Okay. All text that appears in your app should be in an XML file. When you create a visual component on a layout and choose Edit Text, Android will show a pop-up that will allow you to create text in this file. What is the name of the XML file where the text goes? The answer is strings.xml. Strings.xml. So let's see if I have, yes. One moment, and I'll show you, kind of refresh here. If I go to res, and what's interesting is you see I have strings.xml. This is the live plan places. I have strings.xml under a folder called values. And this has all of the English strings. But then you also see another folder called values ES. Okay, so here's the English, here are the English strings. Okay. Okay, we have another folder called another folder called values ES. And values ES is an identical copy of strings XML with one exception. The values are in Spanish. So if you see here, the key or the name will be the same, but the value will be in Spanish. Okay, so we have all of our keys here, values in English. Now let's go to strings XML under values ES, and once again we'll see the keys will be the same, but the values will be in Spanish, and that is how we can support multiple languages. Looks like I missed one there. So nonetheless, it's a good idea to support multiple languages, because you might find that there are some underserved markets in non-English speaking parts of the world. So it could open up a lot of opportunity if you do it that way. Okay, when you add a button to a layout, you can have it call a method. To associate a button to a method, right-click on the button, choose Other Properties, All by Name, and then look for the property named onClick. And you provide to that property only the name of the method. The access modifier has to be public, that's a given, so you don't need to specify that again. The return type has to be void, that's a given, so you don't need to specify that again. The parameter list is view, that's a given, you don't have to specify that again. All you specify is the name of the method. Okay. And once again, and actually that kind of answers the question below as well. If I want to activate a method, the method must look like this. Fill in the blank. If I want a button activate a method, fill in the blanks to complete the method. Public, void. Then we have on save click. That's whatever name I came up with. That's up to the user, up to the programmer to decide. And then the parameter type here is type view. Layouts are written in XML. One moment, please. I lost my. There we go. Okay. Layouts are written in XML. A linear layout is a view group that aligns all children in a single direction, vertically or horizontally. Yes. So with a linear layout, you either stack layout components one on top of the other or one to the side of the other. That's what a linear layout is. A good trick for making a very fluid layout is to nest layouts. That works very well. So linear layout is one that will frequently nest. And if you look on Plant Places Mobile, you'll see some nested layouts like that, like on the advanced search. There are some layouts that you can expand and collapse. A lot of those are nested, and a lot of those are linear layouts as well. When creating a new activity, you must implement which method. We often associate our activity with a layout in this method, and we get access to our view components in this method. The magic method is the method called onCreate. Blank is a view group that displays child views in relative positions. That one's pretty easy. It is the relative layout. So that is everything for quiz 2, which was due last week as I record this. Right now we have quiz 3 going on, so of course I won't show those answers now, but we will come back and show those later. Thank you.